Hey guys, a lot of sports coaches will say that sport is a lot more mental than it actually is physical. Some will say 80, 90% is mental, some even 100% is mental. And I believe the same can be applied in personal finance. So a lot of the behaviors, decisions we make with our money come from the mentality we have and the way we think about money. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 3 possible mindsets that you could have when you're making a big purchase or when you're generally spending your money. So let's get right into it. Terrible click of the fingers. Never mind. Now, to clarify exactly what I'm going to be talking about in this video, there's loads of different ways you can think about money. For example, how much an hour of your time costs, what the opportunity cost of something is, the potential return if you regularly invest something, for example. All of these are ways of thinking about money. But what I wanted to talk about in this video was more the logical reasoning behind spending decisions. So what I'm actually going to discuss in this video are the mindsets of being cheap, being frugal, and having an abundance mindset when it comes to spending money. And a quick note as well is that I have applied all 3 of these mindsets at some point in my life to varying different things. I've used them and applied them in my life, so I understand when is a good time to use them and when is not a good time to use them as well. So let's get right into it so that you get the idea of what I'm talking about. Now, when we talk about people who are cheap, it often comes with negative connotations. You know, it might be a stingy person, it might be someone who is looked down upon as not having a lot of money. But if I were to define being cheap, then I would define it as paying the absolute minimum for something, not paying a penny more than you have to for whatever it is that you're buying. Now, to contextualize this in all 3 of the mindsets, I'm going to use a couple of examples to demonstrate it. So one example I'm going to use is going to the gym, for example. Now, someone who's cheap, they might not even pay for a gym membership. You know, they might buy some weights at home, they might just go for a run, they might even go to an outdoor gym if that's an option where they live. You know, they really don't want to spend money on it, but they do want to get something out of the absolute minimum amount of money that they can spend. Second example of being cheap, you know, let's look at owning a car now. If you have a cheap mindset when you're looking for a car, you're basically looking for the cheapest model that works, that gets you from A to B. Nothing more than the basics, you know, it will get you from A to B and that's it. Now, I think being cheap is not all bad all the time because, you know, there's some things that are just, in my opinion, not worth spending more money on. Like, for example, this is the absolute first thing that came to my mind, but like basic cutlery, like I would simply buy something from the supermarket so that I have forks and knives to eat with. I wouldn't spend more money for fancy cutlery. That's my personal opinion. Being cheap is also useful if you're really tight for money or you're trying to make some quick savings in the short term with your money. And so for people who are really trying to kickstart their personal finance journey, then you might need to like really go all in and be a bit cheaper than you normally would have done. To get the ball rolling, to start making some savings, to pay down debt or whatever. But the key word there is short term because as someone once told me in Spain, the cheapest things end up costing the most. If I buy the cheapest pair of running shoes in the shop, sure, I paid maybe 10, 20 euros for that. But are they really going to give me like a good few years? No, they're probably going to be ruined in a matter of months. So, you know, being cheap is good for making short-term progress, but it's not a mindset generally that I would keep for the long term. In addition, I think if you're cheap with everything in your life, it can be a little bit mentally demoralizing. You know, you feel like you're missing out on something, but you're tied into, you know, spending the absolute minimum. And I think, you know, it can be, you know, I don't want to say depressing, but it's not going to give you the same enjoyment as with the 2 other mindsets that we're going to talk about in this video as well. Now, the next mindset I want to talk about is being frugal. Now, this can often be confused with being cheap, but there is a slight difference. Now, being frugal is also not spending a lot of money, but rather than paying the minimum possible, I would consider frugal as being not spending more than you need to. And I say not spending more than you need because when you're talking about being frugal, it's all about the value. What gives you the best value for the money you have or the money that you're willing to spend? So taking the gym example again, if we stick with the cheap mindset, then, you know, we're just gonna buy basic equipment. You know, we might run outside, we might go to an outdoor gym or work out at home. If we're frugal, we might be willing to spend a little bit more money on a gym membership. It's not going to be the craziest gym in the world, it's not going to be the most beautiful gym in the world, but it's going to be a gym that for the money we pay, it has the equipment we need, the machinery we need, the services we need, and we can do our training as best we can. And the value here versus the cheap mentality is that by being cheap, yes, you're going to get some exercise, you'll get something out of it, but I think there's a limit as to how much you'll get out of it. The value that comes here from being frugal is that you now have access to, a dedicated space to work out. You might have access to machines, cardio equipment, and it should give you a better training experience. You'll probably get better output than, just going for a run or doing body weight exercises or outdoor gym. Now that's very much arguable depending on the person and how often they train and what they eat, etc. But in most cases, I would say that paying money and training in the gym probably is going to give you a better training output than doing it on your own. And if we look at our example of the car for being frugal, we're not going to spend a lot of money on a car, but we might be able to spend a bit more money on something that has a bit less mileage, a car that maybe is a bit of a newer model, that maybe has a better history of service and maintenance than a cheap car, than by paying the bare minimum. It still might not have the best things. It might be an older model, it might be secondhand, it might not have cruise control, for example, but for what we're paying, we're happy with the value it gives us. So there are a lot of positives that come with being frugal. You really focus in on getting the most value for your money, and it encourages you to do more research and learn exactly about what you're buying and what you're getting for the money that you spend. And I think as a result of doing that, you end up making better choices financially, and you really do get the most value for your money. And if you're able to adopt and apply that frugal mindset to your life, to everything that you purchase, then I think it shows a good level of financial maturity, and that you have a good control over your situation, and that you generally make good decisions when spending money. The only drawback of being frugal is that, you're not gonna get the absolute best things generally, because you're gonna have to look at what it is exactly you need, and you're gonna have to maybe sacrifice or trade off some better things so that you can get the best value within your budget. Now, I consider myself a frugal person. A frugal mindset is generally what I adopt towards most things in my life. And I'd say that a frugal mindset is particularly good if you're someone who has built, a decent financial foundation up to this point. You're in your wealth building stage, but from time to time, you need to make a big purchase, or even in your everyday purchases for that matter of fact as well. And you're really just trying to get the best value for your money, buying what you need that gives you the best value without it hampering the ability for you to build wealth. And the last mindset I'm going to talk about in this video is what I'm going to call the abundance mindset. Now, the abundance mindset essentially sees no limits. Like, if I see something and I can afford it, I will get it. I think this is really where you get to enjoy your money and spend your money on what you want. So if we go back to our examples again, if we go back to the gym, I use the gym example because this is actually applicable to my life. So I recently changed gyms. The gym that I went to before, I really signed up with like a frugal mindset. I thought, okay, the price I'm paying here is really good. I can go into the gym. I will work my schedule around it. I've got a good range of machines I can use, and I've even got, personal training services. So it was really, really good value for money. However, I did see that there was a more expensive, newer, bigger gym near me that was open for longer, and that also had stuff like a swimming pool and a sauna and stuff like that. I was like, man, I would love to change and go to this gym. And so that's what I did. Now, it does cost me a little bit more money per month to go to this gym, but it's a cost that I can bear within my finances. It's not gonna leave me out of pocket. It's not gonna leave me struggling. It's not gonna affect my ability to save and invest. And I think this is one of the key takeaways from this mindset that you have to keep in mind. That to be able to have this abundance mindset when it comes to a purchase, your financial situation should be pretty rock solid. Like, got a solid foundation, you're investing nicely, and that making this purchase, it's not gonna leave you out of pocket. It's not gonna put a dent in your portfolio, in your savings, in your investing. You can continue on, and that money is like, not like it's nothing to you, but like, it's not gonna leave a dent. It's not gonna move the needle one way or the other. And if we go to the car example, then this would be buying the car that you want. It might have cruise control, it might be the sport version, it might have, I don't know, blacked out windows. You can tell I don't own a car. Like, I know enough about cars to get by, but I'm yet to buy a car. But you get the idea. You can basically spend what you want on it. And so the positives of this mindset is that you don't just get what you need, you also get what you want. Like, sure, that old gym I was going to, it gave me everything I need. Like, it gave me a solid place to work out. I was training really well. I was seeing good progress there. Will I become particularly more healthy or more stacked by going to this new gym? No, probably not. I'll probably see similar results than going to the old one. But for me, like, going to the gym, I wanted to enjoy this nice facility. facility. I wanted to be able to swim from time to time or take a break in the sauna. So for me, like it gives me some enjoyment out of going to the gym. Whereas before, yes, I got my workout in and I did enjoy it, but it was really like get down and get to business and then get out kind of thing. So yeah, and I think from a psychological perspective as well, like being able to spend money like that or having something that you can afford to spend money on where, it's just pure enjoyment, it has a really nice psychological benefit as well. So if you've got a budget in place, if your investing's, on track and you can afford to like splash out on something, then enjoy it, man. But you do have to be careful with this mindset as well. As I say, you should be able to like make these kind of money moves without it affecting your financial situation. It shouldn't be something that you're doing so that you can live above your means. It shouldn't be something that you're doing, to impress others. It shouldn't be something that, is a stretch for you financially. You should be able to comfortably make these kind of money decisions. And with that said as well, I think you should still have some kind of discretion with your money. Like, yes, I'm paying more because I want the swimming pool and the sauna, but I do use them. I'm not just like paying €100 a month to go to a gym that I'm not going to go to, like if I am going to pay that money, I will still get my money's worth. And one final thing to mention as well is that if you make that step up and you make these kind of abundance purchases, it's difficult to come back down. It is very similar to, lifestyle inflation. So, make sure that if this is something that you're paying for on a regular basis, or if this is a recurring purchase like a car once every few years, be sure that you are going to be able to sustain it, because the mental effect of being taken down a peg is going to be difficult to deal with. It's going to be a hard pill to swallow. So guys, that was all I had for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it and I hope you found it interesting. Leave a comment and let me know, what is your take, what is your mindset when it comes to making spend decisions with your money. Till next time, I'll see you on the next one, and let's get this money.